All right, welcome back. This video is to go along with IED Activity 1.1.1. We are down to the section where we want to represent our data, and we've been learning about creating box and whisker plots, and we should have by now created one by sketching it in our notebook and adding it to our digital notebook. But we want to take this to the next level. As engineers, we want to work as efficiently as possible, and to do that, we like to use some tools. So one of the tools that we'll use is a spreadsheet such as Excel, or in the case, since we're all online, we can use Google Sheets, which is a Google version of Excel. Very powerful, very handy tool to organize and calculate and chart and graph, and it can do a lot of things with that. So what we're going to do is take your launch data. Once you've created your launch device, you should have tested it 10 times, and you should have measured in feet. What was recommended in our module is to measure it by the foot and then round up or down. If it's over, say if it's 5 feet 7 inches, we'd round it up to 6 feet. If it were 6 feet, no, I'm sorry, let's say it's 7 feet 5 inches, we'd round that down to 7 feet. So for simplicity's sake, in this activity anyways, we are just going to use the whole foot. You'll have to round up or down according to where your measurement lies. This gives you an idea of what we're going to have when we're all set and done. And we're going to try and create a box and whisker plot inside of Google Sheets so we can analyze the data and understand a few things from that. So you should have learned some things about what the box and what the whiskers represent, like the range, the minimum, the maximum can be represented by these points. Then we have Q1, Q2, Q3, and Q4. But we're going to get started to make that on our own. So to do so, this video works as a tutorial to guide you through this process to create your own data and analysis chart in Google Sheets. So what I'd like you to do is go to your Google Drive, go to your Drive, and then find your IED folder. Remember, we made IED folders for you last week. Should look something like this. Probably says IED and then your name. You should have saved that to your Drive by now. I've put that inside of another folder. So to work with this, I'm going to just work back into my IED site. We want to make a new sheet. So all you have to do is go up here to New, and we're going to make a new Google Sheet. And just like that, it should open up a new spreadsheet. So first thing we need to do is we need to title our document. And we're going to call this, let's see, Activity 1.1.1. Launcher data underscore and then your last name. And then you can go ahead and move your mouse down to this area. So activity 1.1.1. Oh, I have a typo. Launcher, not launcher. Launcher data and then your last name. So I know exactly whose work this is once I have it on my computer and opened up. We're going to start up a little bit about sheets. If you've never used a spreadsheet before, the columns are all labeled with letters, so A, B, C, D, and so on. The rows are labeled with numbers. So we're going to click ourselves into cell A1. And we're just going to start typing, and we're going to call launcher. Let's see what I have. Launcher data distances. And distance, if I can't type. And we might go underscore and then your last name. So not only is it saved in the title, but it's also saved in on this page. So if you print this out, someone can easily tell it's your work. Now let's go ahead and format this a little bit. Since that's a title, let's make the size of that a little bit larger. Much like Google Docs, we can go ahead and change the size of that. Let's make that 12-point text. Let's make it bold and let's make it italicized. Notice how it spreads over 3 cells, yet it's all in this first cell. If I click on A1, there's my data. It tells me what's in there. If I click on B1, nothing there because it's all here in A1, just spills over. Okay? All right, so I'm going to just bounce back and forth to show you what this should look like when we're done. So launch data device, we want one column for launch trial and one for distance in feet. So I'll go back to um, here. I'm going to go launch trial. And then the next one we can just tab to move over. And the next one we want to go distance. And I put parentheses FT meaning feet. And that should make that pretty straightforward. What I like to do is hover over both of those and let's go ahead and italicize. We can hit a Control U, that'll underline those. So those are headings to columns. And if you remember from when we built this, we were supposed to test it how many times? 10 times, yes. So we can just go 1, 2. A little trick you can do, I can go back up here. I can actually highlight these two. And if I take this little blue number, I can drag that down. And I think that's going to get us to, we're starting at 4, so I must be at 14, huh? Oh, too many. I can go ahead and delete this one. But this is a little trick inside of Sheets so that we can get ourselves organized. And our distance in feet, you can just put your numbers in there. I'm just going to use some random numbers. I've done this once before, so I'm just going to put some random numbers in there. And you'll put your numbers in. You should have recorded this in your engineering notebook as you were testing your device. And I'm just going to take some numbers and key it all in here, and we're all good. All right. Now, I'm big on liking to format, so this all looks neat and tidy. To work with this, it's always good to, you can highlight over several. Notice how they're turning blue? I've highlighted those boxes. Now I can go up here and I can format. Horizontal align. I like to make it look neat and tidy, so I'm going to make it all centered. Okay? All right. So we've got our data in. Wow, I just can't type, can I? I want to call it launcher. It's our launcher data, distances, and it's my work. All right. So we've got our raw data in there now. We really haven't done anything new other than set up a spreadsheet at this point. Our next step is we need to put some information in. So we want to put in 5 categories. The first one has to be text. So distance, again, parentheses, FT is feet. And the reason why that's important, this will be a label that's in the chart that we're going to create. So our first one is distance in feet. Okay. And let's see. Then we're going to go, I'm going to move this down once. You can highlight and drag that down one cell. And sorry, let's just go ahead. Control X, move myself down one, Control V, and I've just moved that down. Okay, so it's our distance in feet, and we want to have Q1, which if you remember from what you learned recently, that's quartile 1. And after quartile 1 comes Q2, and we want, I'm going to draw a blank here. I've got to reference my chart here. Minimum, I'm sorry, I'm leading you astray here. I want minimum in that first column. So minimum Q1 and Q3, and we want max. Okay, so distance, we want the minimum, Q1, Q3, and max should look something like that. Minimum, Q1, Q3, and max. Now, again, I like to format things a bit, so I'm going to select all 4 of those cells, and we are going to center the data, and Control U will underline it. Now here's where the power of a spreadsheet comes into place. When we start creating a formula inside of a program like Google Sheets or Excel, I can do a formula to help me calculate the minimum. So I don't have to manually do this. I go down here and always, 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 formulas start with the equals sign. So equals, and we want to find out the min. So let's start typing the word minimum. If I hover over this, click it, minimum, see it has it open parentheses. If I just select the data in those columns, close parentheses, and hit enter, I have my minimum of 6. Look at that quickly. Yes, 6 is my minimum number. Next one is going to be, again, starting a formula starts with equals, and they're going to go quartile. So start with a Q, there's quartile. Parentheses, we want this data. And we go comma 1 because we want quartile 1, put my close parentheses. So I took all of the data here from cells B4 down to B13, so B4 to B13, comma 1, that's quartile 1, hit enter, there is my Q1. Do the same thing for Q3. Starts a formula is equals, start with the letter Q, there it is, you have to click on that word quartile, drag over your distance data, comma, 3 because we want quartile 3, and we hit enter. And finally, we want the max. Again, formula starts with equals, max, maximum. If I click on that, and same thing, that data set, close my parentheses. All right, there's our data. If we glance at it real quickly, it's a small data set, so it's easy to double check our work. Okay, now, if we like to make it neat and tidy, which I do, I'm going to hover over those. Let's go back and format that so it is centered underneath our headings, and we're good to go. The last thing I'd like you to do is if we skip a cell, let's go down to A18, and we want to put in the median. I like to go median equals, okay? And that's just a label for the next cell. So median equals, and guess what? We're going to do a formula again. So we go equals median. There it populates a formula that's already pre-made inside the spreadsheet. So the median of this data, close our parentheses, our median is 10. A couple more format things. We can center that. I like to take this and right justify that so it looks kind of neat and tidy. Our median is 10. We've got some basic data that we want to work with here. Now, here comes the fun of sheets. You had to make a box and whisker plot by hand. Well, we can do this with the calculations in the machine by using data that we've just created. So what we want to do, we need to first declare the data we're going to work with. So I'm going to hover over distance and then each of those values, okay? When we're making a box and whisker plot, we want to have the first one to be text to describe what we're displaying, followed by the data points that we want. Okay, so then we can go up here to on this middle menu bar, way at the right side, it says Insert Chart. Another way to do that, we can go to Insert, and then we can go down to Chart. Either one gets you there. Shortcut is right here in the menu bar, makes life a little easier. So if I click on Insert Chart, and I don't want a bar chart though. So I go over here to Chart Type. Chart Type. If I hit the drop down arrow, it's going to give me all kinds of charts that are available in Sheets. Well, here's our box and whisker plot. In fact, inside of Sheets, they call it a candlestick chart. Don't ask me why. I'm just going with what I know. Box and whisker chart is called a candlestick chart. So if I click on that, just like that, we've created a box and whisker plot, and we can drag that so it's right below our data. All right, the only thing that we don't have is Our median we calculated to be 10. Unfortunately, in this version of a spreadsheet, it does not mark the median. If you were to use a program such as Excel, that will put the median in there for you. We want to mark the median, however, it doesn't automatically do it for us. So let me show you how to create a line that will show us the median. That'll help us analyze this data a little bit better. So we want to insert a line. Well, let's go up here to insert. There really isn't a line tool, so what we have to do is go down to drawing. So insert and drawing. And we can use the line tool right here. And to make a nice straight horizontal line, you start dragging that, hold your shift button down. That'll make you a nice straight horizontal line. And it's just kind of approximate, I don't know, somewhere 2 inches long or so. We're going to just plop that into that graph we just made and release it. What I like to do is change the color of that. Let's make that red so it'll stand out. We go ahead and save and close. Here's our line. Now we can take that guy. There it comes. Once we get the hand, we can drag that down and we can kind of eyeball that into place here. We know that our median is at 10. Well, in my case, that's pretty much right on that 10 line. I can drop that and there. If I click elsewhere, now that shows my median. I can see the min, Q1. This is the median, or also known as Q2. There's Q3. And we could say the max or Q4 is way up here. So you can easily read that chart. It's a quick graphical review of how to read that chart. Now, a couple things we want to change. We've got this distance in feet, which is good. We want to give our chart a title. Okay, so if we double click on that chart, we get a little menu that pops up over here. And there's a lot of things we can do. We can mess with the chart style and everything. If you want to experiment with that, you're more than welcome to. What I'm really interested in is chart and access titles. So let's jump down to here. Title text. So we want a chart title. We want this to be launcher data. And we'll place that. We can just hit X. Boom, we've just labeled our chart. Notice what happened to us though, because we put that launcher data in there, it condensed our box and whisker plot. We can do a couple things here. We can drag this out. That didn't work so well, but I could take the bottom, I can drag that down. There's that line. We'll have to click until we get the hand again, and we can just replace that, position that where we need it. Again, we just want to see where the median is represented on there. That helps us identify information about our middle value of our numbers. All right. Other things that may be helpful as you work on a box and whisker plot, you might also put in something called the median, the average. What's the average is the mean. That equals, we'll do the same thing as we just did up above, just a helpful statistical point that we like to know about things. So again, formula equals, and I don't think we actually have a mean in there, but what we do, we know the mean is the same as the average. So we can say average right there. So the average of that data set is right there, close parentheses, boom. That can be helpful. We can see now that our mean, our average for our launch is just below the median. We can use that to analyze how effective our launcher was. Now all you have to do is, it's because we're in Google, it's already saved, it's saved your Google Drive. You will need to place this into your digital notebook. So you can do a snip, and then you can place it into your digital notebook, and that helps you create a box and whisker plot, which is a quick graphical analysis of your launcher. What might be helpful is to maybe do a couple snips, once with this information, maybe once with this information, and then once of the chart itself, and then put that into your digital notebook. All right, there you have it. That is creating a box and whisker plot or statistical analysis in Google Sheets. Hopefully that makes sense. I'll let you do that now with your own data from your own launch device. Thanks for watching. Have fun working with Google Sheets.